what's amazing about Ken is that not only is he from Grand Junction, Colorado, and speaks English very fluently, as you can imagine, but he speaks Spanish like he's a native, you know, and he just learned and mastered the Spanish language unlike anything you've ever seen. So now he's teaching languages in Colombia. He teaches English, he teaches Spanish, he teaches he's learning and teaching Portuguese, I believe that's accurate. And on top of that, he's doing something that he was doing when he lived in Greeley that we remember as a family friend. He's learning Farsi. He was doing it then, and he's continuing it. So, very, very dynamic person. I call the video An American Man Living in Colombia and Teaching in Colombia, something to that effect. And but I mean, it's almost like a movie if you think about it, the life of this person and how he is so interested in languages and just perfecting the languages. I can imagine being a Westerner, and Claire can talk about this a little bit as well. I can imagine being a Westerner, learning a Farsi language is not easy because the script is different. And for example, in English, we go from this side to this side. So what am I saying? From right to left, right? Oh no, excuse me. From left to right. From left to right. Yeah, from left to right. In Farsi, it's the opposite. It's from right to left. So the directions are different. The alphabet is different. The script is different. The the phonetic is very different. But Ken is learning that, and I think he's doing a fairly decent job actually. And then in addition to that, Portuguese, Spanish, just amazing. Your thoughts on that, Sam?
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, learning one language is difficult. 2, 3, 4, 5 is just, he's an amazing man. I think my heart go out to him. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think that...
How many languages do you know?
I think I know 3 or 4 languages.
See?
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short.
So what languages do you know?
So I speak French.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, Pidgin English. Pidgin English is a mixture from sort of a amalgamation of English, German, I believe Spanish all mixed together.
Right.
And then, of course, English.
English, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
And your tribal language?
And then tribal languages I've forgotten.
So 4 languages.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, and Ken is very much like that. He would give you a hand clap. He would applaud you for your doing that. And in fact, in the video, he compliments me for some of what I've done. So he's not in any way an egotistical person. But the learning of these languages, to me, I find it impressive. Jessica, what do you think?
I think that's one place where the American education system lacks, and they should start kids at a young age learning languages so that they're able to get that skill in their brain and they're able to learn and understand more language as they grow.
Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
They should learn Spanish.
And Arabic.
Yeah.
That'll be needed. And
Arabic?
Chinese. Or Mandarin Chinese, yeah.
I know some people who are learning Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
But
I think to be a truly global citizen, you have to know multiple languages.
my grandsons know 3 languages.
That's awesome.
What do they speak?
They speak English with their mother, French with their father, and German in school.
Oh, I see.
That's amazing.
That's fabulous.
That's
fabulous.
fantastic.
That's fantastic.
And they go like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
But
Suddenly they're talking French.
it's practice. It's practice, and not only it's practice, it's just kind of being used to it. And,
it's part of their life.
But before we move right along on this, you have made attempts, right, to learn Farsi or no?
I had a teacher.
Okay.
Nazi.
Nazi, okay.
And she left.
Okay.
And I didn't keep it up. I can say a few words.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Assalamu
what,
alaikum.
yeah, but what I'm trying to say is you picked up some of the conversation and
Well, I
Some of
yeah.
them, yeah. With her and,
I wish
yeah,
I knew more, but
yeah. But I will say that you have made the attempt, and you know, you have made effort. So that's
yes, that's something.
that's impressive, yeah, yeah. But you read Rumi, which you read it in English, but it's still something. I mean, it's, you know, you're reading another language, another literature, I should say.
I found
Yeah.
Rumi's
Yeah.
translators. I don't read Coleman Barks. He doesn't even know. He doesn't know Farsi, and he's. I don't know how he did that, but he's very famous in this country, and he knows nothing.
Okay.
So I don't.
Are there translators that you have liked, or you have? Yeah.
There are. I don't know them off the top of my head, but.
But again, of course, we've talked about this before. But you made the attempt definitely musically, because you play you play Iranian music with the violin, and that, I would submit, that's a kind of a language in a way.
Music is its own language.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it's a universal language.
And it's a different language, but it's the same kind of a concept, because you're taking a look at something else, another perspective.
Yeah.
That I think that's what language does, and I think with that you kind of get that orientation, if you will. But no, all very, very interesting, and just the process of. And I asked Ken, well, how do you do this? He made a recommendation which I'm actually using myself, because I speak Farsi, Turkish, English.
Wow.
But I also, well, you know, the same as you kind of, you have 3 or 4. But I'm also now learning Russian and Spanish. And of course Russian because of my wife, because in their country that's official. And so I find that I'm interested, I want to do it, but the problem is consistency. I don't keep up with it. So he made a recommendation that I'll pass it on to everybody. He said, do it for 15 minutes a day. He said, don't go for hours on end, because, you know, you might get burned out and not do it again. So he said, just do it 15 minutes a day, and if you find that by the end of the week, you really picked up a lot. So that's kind of what I'm trying to apply and do now with Russian, and fairly soon again with Spanish. I have attempted it with both. I do not think it should be required. I think it should be a choice. Now let me explain to you why. If you pick another language and say, well, this is required now, in addition to English. The problem I see with that, personally, is that you have multiple different cultures and languages. And say, for example, me and my wife, we are teaching our kids Russian, and it takes time to do that. If you try to go in a required language of another one, that takes away from the time that you have with your own native language. Now, a phenomenal example of this, and I'm not bragging about me, I'm just stating reality, is the Native Americans. They have their own language. And in addition to that, they're fluent in English. They always have been. I lived with them for 6 years, so I know. So if you require that another language, yet again, be required, well, they already speak English, they already want to do Navajo or Apache, that other language sort of takes away from, you know, from what they're doing natively. Now, they can have that choice. They can make that choice. It's up to them. But I don't think it should be it should be encouraged, but not required. Is just what I'm personally believing. So, any thoughts on any of that?
I disagree.
Well, you can disagree, but I disagree also.
The only reason is that if languages were taught in school here,
Starting at like preschool when they're little.
let them take Spanish, learn some Spanish, learn French, learn German, learn Swahili. Don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
We learn cultures through language. We Americans need to know more about the cultures of the world.
But how many cultures do you want to learn about? And
oh, look at
yeah, well, I mean, but realistically speaking, you know, there's only so many. Like, let's say, you know, in Canada right now, okay, in Canada you have native Canadians. Let's say they're the Dene tribe, you know, which is very similar to Navajo. They're cousins of the Navajo. Well, they have their own language, and they've learned English. Now, put on them learn French? I don't think so. You know, don't require of them another colonial language, because they are trying to practice their own language. In fact, many of them have trouble with the youngsters not speaking the Dene language, for example. So they're trying to bring that back. So I think that it just makes sense to have one official language and then give choice to people if you want to learn more of the others. Encourage it. You know, I don't see that as a problem. But nonetheless, you know, don't make it a requirement. That's just my view. So anyway, you're welcome to your view. Please put it into the comments. Let me know what you think about this. But let's not forget Ken in Colombia, an amazing person. So check out the video. Just see the love that he has for the Colombian culture and the Spanish language, the Spanish food, the Colombian food, the beauty of Colombia, which I understand is amazing. And we're going to be discussing more of that in another episode with him, just on the scenery and things like that. So
I have to say,
yeah,
because I am a football fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's called football, not American football.
Right.
But they came, the world came together. All of these teams came together. And I loved it when they were interviewing the players. And I loved Cape Verde. Cape Verde, is that right? Cabo Verde. That team was awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of a small country, isn't it?
It's like 150,000 people.
Yeah. That's exciting.
And there are all these countries together.
Right.
And they talked about God in America. Oh my gosh. There were fans on the streets. The Scottish people in Boston, you know, it was like the bagpipes, and I think it was good for America to have as much as we did.
Yes.
Even though our president, I won't go into that.
Well, the thing about it is that soccer is growing in the U.S. It is growing, and
absolutely.
And it's
I
very
love soccer.
yeah, it's very nice to see that. No, it is growing.
They
for
call
sure.
it soccer here.
So anyway, check out Ken in Colombia. I think he's a very knowledgeable person, so I think you'll get a lot out of it. Check it out, especially if you're interested in teaching languages. I think he has some really interesting insights about that, and please check it out. Give this company a lot of credit for that, because they kind of, you could say, they turned me on to hats. This is called the Gorin Brothers hats, and they had a store in Boulder, Colorado. Amazing store. My goodness, you just walk in there, you feel so important. You know, you have all these hats on the wall, and variety of colors, variety of designs, just really beautiful. And plus, they had really excellent customer service, by the way. But they have now chosen to go the route of many companies, so they are mainly doing business online. But I guess their main store is in Los Angeles. So the rest of the country, you can get it online, or you can get it in various department stores, because they carry the brand Gorin Brothers hats. But they have like straw hats, they have feather cap hats, they have baseball caps, they have truck drivers hats now. They have cowboy hats.
What's a truck driver's hat?
You know, I guess it's kind of like a baseball cap, you know. Yeah. But they have like you gotta check them out on Google, because they do really special, fancy, and I'm talking fancy designs on these hats. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. They do old hat old style hats as well as new style hats. I mean, you want to talk time era, you got it. They got it. I mean, they have just about everything. They got you covered on your head. They got you covered. I mean, it is unbelievable. So the variety, the selection, the design, the quality, the endurance, the prices, by the way, not bad at all. So it's a very, very fabulous industry. I guess they started back east, back in the very, very old days, but now, like I say, they operate mainly out of Los Angeles. So Gordon Brothers Hats, Nikki is the marketing director. He's the person that I interviewed. Thank you, Nikki, by the way. But he was very, very informative, very knowledgeable, and the amazing things you learn about hats. I would go to Boulder and with my wife, and my wife knew about it, so she took me there. And so credit to her, because I got educated. I could see what hats actually do. And got me a hat from that store and loved wearing it. And as I was joking off camera earlier, it was a head turner. You know, it was just really, literally that type of attention catcher. So, hats in general. Sam, what do you think?
Hats are a way to communicate.
Yeah, express.
Express.
Uh-huh.
So, I please, Golden Hats is the place to go.
Fashion, yeah. Fashion for your head. Yeah. Jessica, what do you think?
I think they're a good way to advertise, good way to let opinions be known, help protect your skin.
Yeah.
I like hats. I wear them on Saturday morning to go to the farmer's market.
Oh, wow. So you own a variety of them?
No, I don't have. I have 3 hats.
3 hats, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I generally wear hats, and most of the time I wear hats. A lot of the times it's just a hat like this. But I love Gordon Brothers hats. So, one of these days I think I'm going to look them up and try to maybe purchase one. Do you have any type of a favorite type of hat or any type of a story with a hat? Anybody?
I have a story.
Okay.
But the gentleman lived in Nunn.
Uh-huh.
And I can't remember his name, but he was living in his mother's house. Okay? But he made these hats.
Wow.
And they were like gigantic, with all kinds of flowers and stuff. I mean, something that you would wear to the, what's the horse race? The Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, Kentucky Derby, yeah.
And there was one hat. I thought, I really want that hat, but I never got it. But he was something else, because he told stories about growing up in that part of the Colorado, and he was a very interesting guy.
Well, and it looks to me like, you mentioned the Kentucky Derby, and that's definitely a major event for hats, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that event, but there are just so many varieties of them, like the cowboy hats and the ladies' fashion hats and the gentlemen fashion hats. And I mean, there are just so many of them. Sports industry. So it's just an amazing... Anyway, one thing that I'm learning as time goes on is I'm learning a lot as I'm doing these reports and these videos, because to be honest with you, I had no idea that it was that extensive with the hat industry. But this really, the research and the interview really opened up my mind. Yes?
I was going to say, in the 30s and the 40s, everyone wore a hat going out.
Right.
The men wore the fedora thing.
Fedora, that's the name I was looking for.
And the women always wore some kind of hat.
Yeah.
You weren't dressed unless you put your hat on.
Yeah, that's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Topics with Mr. Javadi. We are continuing the panel discussion. Due to having some audio and video difficulties, this portion of the panel discussion will just be audio with pictures, and that's going to be joined with my brother Pejman Javadi, who has played, by the way, some of the wonderful piano pieces in the channel thus far, and I think you'll recognize the sound. But right now, Pejman, my brother, has joined me in discussing 4 of the videos that we somehow weren't able to put together with our panel discussion, so we're just taking care of it this way to sort of patch it up with your indulgence. But one video that I did, one interview that I did earlier on in the year was with the Apache Nation Education Director in Arizona by the name of Derek Leslie. And Derek was kind enough, generous enough to grant us his time. And in a Zoom interview, we learned about the progress that the Apache Nation is making, and that is just music to my ears, because as a person who taught school for 31 years, a good portion of that in rural areas, and of course 6 of them on the Navajo reservation, I really have a heart for the success of indigenous kids. And I had a tremendous experience with indigenous kids on the Navajo Nation. 6 years, just absolutely loved it. Highly recommended, by the way. And I continue to be in touch with my old friends as much as I can from those days. One of them is Russ Seymour, whose interview you may have seen. He was the football coach in Ganado, Arizona, right alongside with me. But the Apache Reservation, it's in St. Carlos, Arizona. St. Carlos Apache Reservation, I believe, is what it's called. It's in the White Mountains, just a little bit south of Ganado, which is where I lived. If I remember right, it was about a 2 to 3 hour drive south of Ganado. You would go to the White Mountains, which is absolutely just picturesque. It is so beautiful there. It kind of looks like, I don't know, the Alps of Italy or something. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And I guess John Wayne had a ranch there. But we talked with Derek Leslie about this, and he had nothing but positive to report. So I'm going to go to my brother, refer to him. Your take on that particular interview, Pejman.
It was a wonderful, wonderful interview.
The success story that Derek himself is, it's amazing. But he also shared some success stories. Like one of, I guess, their former students is now working for NASA. And there's another one who's actually either getting a PhD or has already gotten one. There were several who were PhD candidates, and he was talking about them and the success that they have had. So it's an amazing.
Some of the top universities that they have
yeah. And so really some success stories, and their test scores have risen up, and so they're doing better in that. So it was just a great video. I highly recommend. I highly recommend that everyone please check it out. It's called Apache Success. At the current time, it's got a white thumbnail. I may be redesigning that, but it's one of my older videos. If you look at it, I guess maybe it's about 4 months or so old, but it's there. It's under the videos, long videos, and you'll find Apache Success. So even if I redesign the thumbnail, which I may not, and I may, but if I do, the title will be there, Apache Success, and I'll try to keep it about the same so you can find it. But it's an amazing, set of stories that he talks about, and just the idea of how you achieve success by just reaching within. What were you saying, Pedro?
So, one of the things I found interesting was that he was required by his dad, and he was hooked on phonics. He was using that, and so his dad had set conditions for him to read books, which is just an amazing thing, you know.
Yeah.
So that dad, of course, you know, of course, he talked about. I don't know whether this was just unique to the Apache Nation or is it just the Indian Nation, but we've had some actors and senators, you know, who have just accomplished so many things.
Yes, and that is
these industries.
That is very true. That is very true. And more of the same. If you're interested in indigenous stories, and I am going to be covering more of them, God willing, as time goes on. I sure am trying. But I do have the interview with Russ Seymour, who coached football on the Navajo Nation. I also have Superintendent Deborah Smith from the Fort Washakie schools in Wyoming. That's the Shoshone Reservation. And so there are other indigenous stories that I'll be doing. And like I say, I have somewhat of a history, having taught there for 6 years on the Navajo Nation. So you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. Or you can also email me at Greeley, Greeley, Payman, Peyman, at yahoo.com. And I'll be glad to be in conversation with you about it. I'll serve in whatever capacity I'm able to. So there's that. And then the next video that we are talking about is the one about Ernest Hemingway. Fantastic American writer. Of course, we have done a couple of videos on him. We did do something on Ketchum, Idaho, which is what this one is about. And that's where Hemingway lived until he passed away. I believe it was in the 60s he passed away. He was 61 years old, so he wasn't that old. But he was having some health issues. He had settled in Ketchum, Idaho, a very picturesque place. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful, with mountains and forests and wildlife, which, by the way, Hemingway, as you know, loved. So he was definitely at home living in Ketchum, Idaho, surrounded by the type of scenery and nature that he liked. But this one is about that. It's about Ketchum, Idaho, which we'll be discussing. But we also, much later on, did a book discussion on The Old Man and the Sea. So that's also in the channel in case you're interested, that story and where Hemingway comes from on that. But again, Nobel Peace Prize winner, Pulitzer Prize winner. He was an outstanding journalist and, of course, became a, just as they say, the rest is history. He became a tremendous novelist, writer, short story writer, novel writer, very highly recognized. Some of his work have turned into movies like Farewell to Arms, or rather, excuse me, For Whom the Bell Tolls. I know that one became a movie. I believe some of the rest of them did as well. But it wouldn't be surprising because he had such great ability to write. But Ketchum, Idaho. Pejman, what was your take on that video, that interview with Liam Guthrie?
I went ahead and watched that video again last evening, and I honestly, for the second time around as I watched it, I just enjoyed it so much.
Yes.
You know, first of all, the environment, the land, and that cabin look-alike house that he purchased, and he was living there, I believe, with his wife.
Yes, yes,
so they lived there, and his wife, I guess, even after his death, lived there for some 20 or so more years.
Yes, she sure did.
Yeah, and so the gentleman who was giving this, interview with you, his name is Liam Guthrie. Liam Guthrie, and so what a gentleman! What professional conversation, and just how informative this gentleman is. I really enjoyed listening to him, and it was just a lot of fun. The fact that he studied at Rochester, New York.
Right, yeah,
and that was just amazing to me. And so, but Hemingway, I mean, the way he comes to me, the way I understood, just what a writer he was, and to ever be recorded in history.
Yeah, and Ketchum, Idaho, what a beautiful place
It's
that
just
is.
a gorgeous place.
It's not terribly far from Greeley, Colorado, which is where you and I live.
Yeah.
We just have to go north to Wyoming and then eventually get there. It's maybe I'm guessing possibly a 12-hour drive or maybe less than that. But it's not terribly out of reach. Definitely worth the trip if you are close by like we are. And even if you are back east or something, let's say you live in Toronto,
Yeah.
if you make arrangements, it's definitely worth the visit if you're able to afford it and make it. The setting is gorgeous, without saying. But at the same time, the sense of his presence, I really look forward to going to Ketchum and going, for example, to the coffee shop where he had coffee.
So is that house kind of a museum now?
Yeah,
basically?
yeah,
Okay.
and you can't just easily and readily visit it. You have to make arrangements. But the town itself, you can.
And of course, Mr. Guthier did speak about
yes,
this as a being a museum.
Right.
So,
And it is a residence for writers as well.
Yeah.
And the writers in residence have to make arrangements also.
So the residence program that was designed by, was that designed by?
By the library in Ketchum, Idaho, yeah.
Idaho.
So that library is not just a library. There used to be a commercial on TV. It's not just a job. It's an adventure about Navy.
Sure, yeah.
About the Navy, you remember that commercial? Well, this library in Ketchum, Idaho is not just a library. It's an adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much to it.
And many writers have gone
Right,
there.
and they work with writers, and they have a lot of history available there. Of course, Liam, that you mentioned, is a library historian.
Archivist.
Yeah, archivist, yeah. And so he was really a lot of help in this interview, and I really recommend you see this particular interview. It has a picture of Hemingway, with the backdrop being, Idaho with the mountains and just that gorgeous scenery.
Mr. Hemingway was into hunting, with ducks and.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the thumbnail.
Yeah.
It has Hemingway in the center, the picture of him, I guess typing or something, and in the backdrop you've got the mountains and the scenery of Idaho.
Lots of great pictures.
Yeah. So you can see, I think it says Hemingway's Idaho or something like that. Is the way that it's worded. But anyway, forgive me for not remembering. It's been a long time. But you can find it. Again, it's one of the older videos. It's close to that Apache video we just discussed. So you go down that far, you can find it. But I'm really proud of this one video very much, because I think Liam was just such tremendous help. Unfortunately, according to the best of my knowledge, I guess he's not there anymore and has gone to another job. But the staff's still very, very nice, and hopefully you'll find the help that you're looking for if you happen to call them. In Ketchum, Idaho, the community library.
I would just think that it would be a joy to visit that area. Right? So
well, and like I said, and I didn't finish my thought, but I look forward to having that coffee where Hemingway had coffee, or having that burger where Hemingway ate. Just going to those places that Hemingway went. And so I look forward to doing something like that, and God willing, maybe one day we will do that, and we'll certainly be at your service with another video. Okay, as we continue now, the next video we want to discuss, the next long video interview that I did with the Margaret Laurence house in Nipawin, Manitoba. That is where Margaret Laurence was from. Nipawin, Manitoba. I believe Nipawin is a indigenous name. Speaking of the indigenous, it's a native Canadian name. It's from the Cree tribe, I believe. Very much look forward to going up there and visiting as well. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. Not too far from Minnesota. And by extension, I guess not that far from us here in Colorado. So one day, God willing, we'll hopefully make that journey. But the Manitoba Margaret Laurence house, amazing place. Give me your take, Pejman, on that particular interview.
I loved this interview. I know that there were some technical difficulties, but that's in Canada and trying to do with the Zoom.
Yeah.
But it ended up a Very, very informative video.
Very informative, yeah.
Great, great pictures. I just love the pictures as she was explaining about the old and the new and the current as
Right,
they are.
right.
You know, but so Margaret, so I guess she lived in Nipawin, Manitoba, and what an area to visit. I think I would recommend it for anybody to go visit this place. Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Very informative, very educational.
Very informative.
What an area.
Highly informative.
That place is.
Yeah.
And the pictures are so very helpful, I believe. You know, and so it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous museum. I love museums to begin with, but I mean, this really caught me. You know, and of course, speaker Kyla did a wonderful job, fantastic job.
God bless her. Yeah, she really did. Yeah.
So, you know, and speaking about Margaret and what Margaret stood for and how well of a individual she was. You know, she was all about. You know, women rights and all the other things that she talked about, completely against war, you know, and those types of things. But I just had a very good time watching this particular video. I really did.
Well, Margaret Laurence happens to be one of the writers that I studied when I was in college. I had a professor, God also rest her soul, who has passed away now. This professor I'm talking about, but she taught feminist literature, women's writers, and in particular, she concentrated on Canadian writers like Alison Munro, Margaret Atwood, and of course, Margaret Laurence. We studied the book Diviners, I remember, which is one of Margaret's books, one of her best-selling books, The Diviners, and then, of course, she has written so many wonderful books like The Stone Angel and, you know, Just for God and all of these fantastic books that she's written. So, highly accomplished author. She did also short stories and some very wonderful short stories. So, Kyla, the young lady I spoke with from Manitoba, was just extremely helpful. And this was a summer job for her because she was en route to go back to college in the fall. And I guess she attends, I believe she goes to college in Ontario, but it's Eastern Canada. And but she was spending the summers at her home base in Nipawin, Manitoba, and doing this job with the Margaret Laurence House. Highly educated, very informed about the house itself, about Margaret Laurence. She talked about the writings of Margaret Laurence, but also Margaret Lawrence's life. And she did have quite the life. She didn't have an easy life necessarily. God rest her soul. She lost her parents when she was a young child.
Yes.
And so she basically grew up an orphan, in a matter of speaking. And I guess her stepmom raised her. But she lost both mom and dad, her own mom and dad. But she was highly educated. She didn't let that stop her. Good for her. She went to Africa. She lived in Africa. She lived in England. So she was well-traveled by all means, and just really understood matters of, for example, colonialism and how Africa was treated, let's say, by the superpowers at the time and the colonial powers at the time. So she was really, really just... I guess you could say she didn't favor colonialism. She wanted independence for African nations. She wanted independence for individuals. Women were a chief focus of her. She wanted women's rights and independence for all individuals, really. And she was definitely anti-war.
Yeah.
So John Lennon's song, All We Are Saying, Give Peace a Chance, that probably was a song that she was... it was a go-to song probably for her, would be my guess. Her speeches and her interviews, actually, you can find them on YouTube. They're all very informative. I was just actually listening to one by a Canadian professor.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's some really good information about her.
Very good ones.
But I would also say, other than the web, of course, please check out the Manitoba Margaret Laurence House in Nipawin. You can give them a call. They're
Or email them.
Or email them. They're generally very helpful. And yeah.
A couple of interesting things.
Yeah.
The fact that the high school
Right.
that she went to
Yeah.
still stands today because
Yes.
I guess Kyla went to the same, whether it was a high school or the college.
Yeah, no, I kind of remember that as you're saying it now. Yeah,
the
yeah,
United
yeah,
College. And
yeah,
those,
yeah.
So those things, those buildings, those existences are still existing today.
Yes, yes.
Which is really fascinating. And then the other area is that the people that inspired her and the people that encouraged her, basically, or she was her inspirations were Margaret Atwood and W. Mitchell were her inspirations. But the one person, as far as encouraging her, was Mildred Musgrove, I believe.
Musgrove or Musgrave. Yeah. It was a teacher of hers, I think. Yeah.
Which,
So
I think Margaret, just went through a lot of different things, but she also had a lot of encouragement, and she was inspired by all these different special people. So I thought those areas were really interesting.
She did have 2 children, which she raised until she passed away. But she really did do a very good job of writing and taking care of her own kids, and just a really phenomenal person. And so very much worth studying, checking out. Look at that particular video, ladies and gentlemen, and I think you'll like it, hopefully anyway.
Well, thank you.
Any comments, please leave them with us. Yeah, for sure. Now we go to the Goldfinger, the classic. So on this one, and this is our last one that we're discussing today, of course, one of the reasons we did it is because, especially as members of the male species, being the Iranian-American males that we are, we love James Bond films. And by the way,
many of the James Bond films, yes.
People may be surprised at this, but we actually watched majority of our James Bond films in Iran.
Yeah.
And so I know we watched Diamonds Are Forever there and Goldfinger there and all these classics because we left Iran in 1977.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of really great films by the James Bond and company.
There was a drive-in theater that our father used to take us there quite often, and so we enjoyed it.
In particular, we were discussing Goldfinger in this one. Ian Rogie had joined us for the discussion. Ian, of course, as you know, is a very intelligent young man, and he is, of course, I call him a young man because I'm 65. He's younger than I am. I think he's in his 40s. But anyway, Ian, very smart man, and I really enjoy having him along on these conversations, and he always contributes really well.
He adds so much.
Yeah, so if you see it, I think you'll really enjoy what he contributes about the film, what makes the film special. We basically talked about why Bond, why the appeal Bond has to so many men, because he really does. Outside of the girl chasing and all these other things, it really came down to he is the ultimate invincible winner. He doesn't get defeated by anything. He's always overcoming obstacles. And especially in Goldfinger, you see many scenes where it almost looks like he's about to die, but he doesn't. He survives it. So that whole thing about his persistence, about his overcoming odds, is I think what really, really makes him such an appealing character. And Pejman, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I just thought and how we did this, talking about Goldfinger,
right.
And the place we did this at was the Boomerang Golf Course.
Golf course here in Greeley, Colorado. Yeah,
beautiful place. I mean, I
it really
had
is.
a great time.
Yeah, again, shout out to Mark and the company.
Yeah,
they really did a great job. Great facility, and if you haven't checked it out and you're in the area, please do check it out. They're very nice people. But anyway, go ahead.
So of course, the video discusses Goldfinger. We have the gadgets there, and and how they have a little area where you can sit down and have your beer and just enjoy, in conversations. The pro shop that was there, and so that was really fascinating. It was quite identical to 007 in that golf course.
Yeah, it really was.
That's where he met Goldfinger.
It really was. It just, I have sort of a theatrical eye or theatrical vision, so I see things that are just, God has gifted me with that. But when I looked at that pro shop, I thought to myself,
that golf course, you just chose a really good place.
I thought to myself, man, this just looks like Goldfinger. So we weren't disappointed with that, because the golf course itself, where we were, and we demonstrated Sean Connery's playing golf scene, if you will, really does resemble the one in the movie. But the one that really stands out, I think, is the pro shop.
The pro shop.
That really, that is almost like a twin brother. So we were just really blessed to be in the physical place, having the discussion, and I think you'll just get a kick out of it, because it's just kind of a fun dialogue about this beautiful film.
The person who created the Bond story, Ian Fleming. Of course, as Ian was talking, the other Ian, our friend
Ian Rogie,
he truly covered that area so well, in talking about Goldfinger and the James Bond films, basically. So it was just.
Well, he really did do a good job of the writing of it. Who did that? We of course discussed the actors and the extras and the film production and all of that stuff. So it's a fun take, a journalistic take of this particular classic film.
So it was fun to do.
Yeah. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for this panel discussion. And we are really grateful you joined us. And please, get back with us as we continue to have panel discussions. They may vary in form from time to time in the future, but we'll try to be as consistent as we can be.
This is something fun that you are doing with your channel, and I really enjoy that.
And we just thank all the panel members as well so far who've been with us, Jessica and Sam and Claire, and they've been with us, and thanks to them also for their participation. We also thank the Centennial Library in Greeley, Colorado,
providing the space
for letting us have the space, and of course Boomerang Golf Course was one where we did discuss the Goldfinger film. So thanks to all of the people who have helped us, and thanks to you. Please watch and subscribe the videos that we provide. And please like and subscribe is really what I'm trying to say as the official statement goes. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.